He may not look it, but this man's deadly. Okay, let's welcome John Terry.
Thanks, buddy. I feel good. I like that. Yeah, I do feel good. Y'all feel good? Yeah. All right. Hey, I want to say first off, congratulations to the Advisor of the Year. That's what black belt leaders do. They lead by example. So copy my book, buddy. Thank you. Guys, I want to give you guys, this is the first time to share this talk, so love it, hate it, first time. First time may not be the best time, but I've just finished book number 8. I've been writing for a long, long time. Book number 8 will be coming out at the end of March. It's called The Black Belt Secrets of Success. I believe that everybody has the potential to be a black belt master of who they are and what they do, but it's up to you to discover, develop, and deploy your own unique black belt leader within. In the book I shared with Nick and a few others in the room, I teach the 10 essential character qualities to becoming a black belt leader in life and how to discover, develop, and deploy that to make a difference in the world. Today, I want to give you some insights into the success secrets of some of the most successful people in the world. This comes from chapter 3 in the book. Again, it's going to be coming out at the end of March. I want to say thanks to Al, thanks to Tyrone for the opportunity to be here and to share today. Guys, I hope you get some good things out of this, and looking forward to sharing. And let's get started with the definition. When we talk about success, what does it mean? If we go to the dictionary, it says it's the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. It's the good or the bad outcome of an undertaking. Success is the state or condition of meeting a defined range of expectations. It may be viewed as the opposite of failure. Now, in the martial arts, you may have seen this symbol called yin and yang. And yin and yang go together, and I want you to think about this. You can't be successful without having an element of failure in your work. When you put yourself out there every day to do what it is that you do as a financial professional, some days you're going to hit a home run. Some days you're going to strike out. But you learn from both to improve and make yourself better. So in looking at success, understand that success is on the other side of failure. But the question we all have to answer is, what does success look like? Well, for some people, it may be a thinner waistline. For other people, success may be a fatter wallet. For other people, success might be a more rewarding career. For other people, success might be better relationships with my spouse, my kids, or my coworkers. For other people, it might be more leadership influence and the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others. We all define this differently. For me, how do I define it? Tyrone's already shared a little bit of it. 5 black belts in 5 different systems. I've been inducted into 3 Martial Arts Hall of Fames. I'm a 2-time Amazon Top 100 best-selling author. I received a commission from the governor of Kentucky as a Kentucky Colonel, which is the highest civilian award they give out in the state of Kentucky. I received in 2021 the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award for Leadership from President Joe Biden. In 2022, I received my doctorate in theology. In 2023, I was named to the Marquis Who's Who in America, and I just found out 2 weeks ago I was just named to the Brains 100 Global Leaders and Influencers of 2023. Now you may say, hey, that's success. Those are accomplishments because of the things I've done to make a difference in the lives of people. But at the end of the day, when I get an opportunity to stand before God, those don't mean anything to me. Those are just accomplishments. When I stand before God, I want to be able to say, I was a good husband, I was a good father, I was a good grandfather, and I made a difference in the lives of other people. That's what you and I have the opportunity to do every single day with what we do. And every single one of you has to answer this question. What does success look like to you? There may be producers in this room that $2 million a year is successful for you. And if you hit that number, you're successful. Maybe you say, I'm going to be a $30 million producer, but you only hit 20. Were you successful? Not as successful as you wanted to be. You can't measure your success against the other people in the room. The only person you are competing with when it comes to success is the person you look at in the mirror every single morning when you get up. Your goal every day is to be a better version of who you were the day before. And if you can do that every single day of your life, you're going to have an opportunity to become more and more successful at anything and everything that you do. One of my good friends is Jeff Henderson. Jeff wrote an incredible book I'd recommend you read. The book is called What Are You For? Jeff spent years working for Chick-fil-A, and Jeff's claim to fame when he worked for Chick-fil-A, he was a marketing director. And he had this great idea that, they had this stadium that they had at one time, and he got this great idea, we're going to put cows, these little cows, in every cup holder in the stadium. So they had a whole crew come in the day before, and they put these cows on the entire stadium. Team came in to play football, and I don't remember which team it was, but the team everybody was cheering for that day was losing badly. One of the refs made a bad call. Guess what happened to the cows? They all came flying. They had to shut the game down because of all the cows being thrown onto the field to disrupt the game. Now the head of Chick-fil-A looks over at Jeff, who he's sitting at the box with. He said, I wonder who was the idiot that came up with that idea. Jeff said, at that moment, I thought I was done. Well, they laughed. They changed the way that they did the cows, but the cows become a big thing for Chick-fil-A. But in this book, What Are You For?, Jeff asked two very important success questions. The first one is this: what do you want to be known for? This is the question you get to answer every single day. What do you want to be known for? It's a question only you can answer, and every single day you've got to answer that question when you get out of bed. Now, the second question is this: what are you known for? You get to answer the first question. Your family, your clients, your prospects, your community gets to answer the second question. You don't get to answer that one. The difference between the two is your opportunity to learn, to grow, to get better, and to become more successful. So if you say, this is what success looks like to me, how many of you have taken the time to go ask your family, ask your best friends, ask other people in the community, what am I known for? And see if it aligns with what you want to be known for. If it doesn't, you need to rethink what success looks like to you, because if you don't define success, you're never going to achieve it. This is one of the black belt secrets of success, and there's 13 of them in my book that you'll learn about when you get a chance to pick up the book in March when it comes out. If you don't define success and you don't say, this is what it looks like to me, you're never going to achieve it. Think about it. If you don't set a goal, how do you know if you made it? If you don't define the win, how are you going to know when you get there? If you never put up a finish line to cross, how do you know when it's time to stop running the race? You don't if you don't define success. Anybody recognize this place? That is Mount Everest. That is the tallest point on Earth, 29,032 feet. Now, interesting side note, I learned this the other day and it was fascinating to me. There was an earthquake a few years ago in the Himalayas. That earthquake was so powerful, it actually reduced the height of Mount Everest by 6 inches. So the people that climb to Mount Everest today are standing 6 inches shorter than those that did it just a few years ago. Now, I had the opportunity a while back to meet Sir Edmund Hillary Jr. Sir Edmund Hillary Jr. is the son of Sir Edmund Hillary. He was the very first man with Tenzing Norgay to summit Mount Everest. Incredible story if you've ever had an opportunity to study and read and learn about it. And as I was talking to him, as he had gone to repeat his father's journey and was sharing this story of going back and repeating the climb that his dad had done many, many years before, he was telling me that along the way, he said, John, going up this mountain, it's not just you start at the bottom and you walk to the top. It is a several week access to get to the top. You work your way up, you stop at one level. You acclimate, you get used to the height, you rest, you recover, you go to the next level. Each level of the climb gets a little more steep, a little more challenging, and it's a different climb than the climb before. But each climb and each leg of the journey, you learn things in the first leg, they're going to help you in the second. What you learn in the second leg is going to help you in the third, and so on. There are 5 camps that individuals go to on their way to the top of Mount Everest. Now, another interesting side note about this Mount Everest journey, there have been a number of people that have died making the trek to Mount Everest over the years. The vast majority of them died on the way down. They spent all their energy and effort trying to get to the top, had no plan was for what is next, and as a result of that, their bodies are entombed forever on the mountain. When it comes to success, think about that. Now, what I want to give you today are 5 success foundations. I want to give you 5 camps that you're going to have to visit in life if you want to have the opportunity to summit your own Mount Everest of success. And we're going to walk through these 5 camps together over the next few minutes, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to understand the things that you need to learn to become more successful in 2024 than you were in 2023. The first camp that we're going to attend is Camp Purpose. Now, why would we attend Camp Purpose first? You've got to understand your purpose, your reason for doing what you do. Why did you get in this industry in the first place? Out of all the things that you could have done with your life, why did you choose the financial services industry? What made you go get an insurance license? What made you go get a Series 65? Or me, I was stupid. I went and got all the numbers when I got started. I had the 6, the 7, the 24, the 26. I can keep going with numbers. I did them all at one point in time because I built a broker-dealer from scratch, not knowing what I was doing. And lo and behold, I ended up running a broker-dealer I didn't know how to run. But it became a model broker-dealer in the small world community because that was my purpose. That was my why. Each and every one of us has a why. Our purpose is what is meaningful to us. It's how we're going to make a difference in the lives of other people. It's how we want to be remembered. But it's important that you understand what your purpose is. And if you've never taken the time to ask yourself, why do I do what I do? It's a question you need to ask yourself when you look in the mirror. Because understanding your why is important to serving your audience. Now, Simon Sinek, I met a few years ago. He's an incredible guy. Simon wrote an amazing book called Start With Why. That's another great success book you need to read. Jeff's I shared a few minutes ago. Simon's is another. Simon talks about 3 things in this book. He says, we all know what we do. How many have ever been to a chamber function and you walk in and you meet somebody for the first time and the first thing they'd say is, how you doing, Scott? I'm John. Scott, tell me what you do. How many of y'all ever had that conversation with somebody? Over and over and over, we can tell people what we do. We've done that so many times, we know it ad nauseum, and we know what we do. But there's a second level to success, and that's the how. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong button there. The how we do it. Most of us know what we do, but not all of us know how we do it as well as we could. That's why I appreciated what Domino was sharing a minute ago about looking and studying the analytics to find out what works and what doesn't, so that the how can continue to get better. If you're brand new in the industry and you've just been here and maybe you're 6 months in, a year in, there's still a lot to learn. For those of us that have been in the industry like me, Tyrone, those of us that have been in there 4 decades or better, still a lot to learn in this industry, constantly evolving and learning. But the vast majority of us get to a certain point in learning the how, and then we say that's good enough. Well, there's an amazing movie out called The Founder. If you've not seen it, it's an incredible movie. Ray Kroc, exactly. Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc, and he tells the story of the McDonald's empire. Now, one of my favorite lines from Ray Kroc, and I love to share this line, and I do it often, Ray Kroc says this, as long as you're green, you're growing. But once you're ripe, you start to rot. And so one of the questions you got to ask yourself every day when you look in the mirror when it comes to this how we do it and getting better at how you do it, you got to ask yourself, am I still learning? Am I still growing? Am I still becoming a better version than I was yesterday, today? And tomorrow, what am I going to do to get better than I am today? Once you stop doing that, you start to rot. It's like when my dad learned how to create a garden and build a garden, he started making tomatoes. And we would go help him pick tomatoes, but occasionally a tomato would get too ripe and it would fall to the ground. And if that tomato wasn't immediately picked up and taken in and cut up and eaten, within a day or two, it started to turn brown. And then it turned black. And then it stunk. And it was of no use to nobody. But we've got a country full of rotten advisors that went and got their insurance license, and they think they know it all, and they're doing a disservice to the community because they don't understand everything about the how. But more importantly is the why. The why gives you the passion every day to get up and say, I'm going to go through those 9, 10, 11, 12 calls I don't want to go through today because my why says this is what I've got to do to serve my audience. Guys and gals, every day when you get up, you want to create an exceptional experience for your customer that makes them say, that was the best thing I ever experienced today. I want to do that again. Because when you create that exceptional experience for your customer, They want to come back and get more of it. But more importantly, they put on this billboard that they walk around with your name on it and says, let me tell you about what I experienced on a Zoom call with Nick, what I experienced on a Zoom call with Scott, what I experienced with those of you in the room. They become your cheerleaders, and they begin to feed your business, and that doesn't cost you a dime. You can still spend money on all your ad spend, but that can become an incredible way to grow your business. Now, if you're not sure about your why, I want to give you 6 questions that you want to go through in an exercise to learn how to properly define your why. The first one is this. What do you like to do that fulfills you? There's a lot of things we like to do, but what is it when you get done with it you say, man, that felt really good? We were talking about that earlier with getting into the rhythm, getting into the jazz, getting into all that. The second question is this. What do you like to do that energizes you? There's certain things you do in your business that you just dread doing because you know at the end of the day after you do it, you're going to just be absolutely wore out. You get no satisfaction, you get no fulfillment from it. But there are certain things you love to do that give you energy and excite you. What are those things? That will lead you to your why. The third question is this. What excites you when you get out of bed in the morning? What is it when you get out in the morning? It says, I can't wait to get to the office to do this. That leads to your why. Fourth question is this. What is it that motivates you? What is it that drives you to keep doing what you're doing? To keep investing in yourself and to keep investing in your business? What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you just love to do that you want to talk about all the time? For me, it's martial arts. I love to talk about martial arts. I find out there's martial arts guys in the room. We're going to be somewhere in a corner and talking about how we punch, kick, and kill people for fun. Now, great side story to that. I've got 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls. When my girls would get a boyfriend and they'd bring him to the house for the first time, they would introduce me. And here are all my awards on the wall. You know, I've got my bow staff, my commas on the wall. Here's a picture of me with a couple of Israeli guys that train Israeli Special Forces I've trained with. And when they walk in, my girls walk over and they point to this wall. And they said, yeah, this is my dad. He punch kicks and kills people for fun, and he taught me to do the same. And the guys laugh, and I come out and introduce myself. My girls have never had a bad date. They've never had anybody treat them wrong. I have 3 good friends. My daughter has just finished a year as Miss Arkansas, and she's currently Miss Branson, going to be competing for Miss Missouri in June. I've got 3 good friends that are former Russian Special Forces guys. Every time a boy shows up on her Facebook feed, I get a text message. The text message says, is he okay, or does he need to disappear? Love to have friends like that. It's great to have them. So I'm passionate about the martial arts because it keeps my girls safe, all right? Here's the last question. What do you dream about doing or becoming? We all have a dream of what we want our business to look like. We've got this vision of what we want our business to be. We've got this vision of what we want to be as individuals in our business, what we want to be as a father, what we want to be as a business owner, what we want to be in our community, in our church, wherever. That is part of driving your why. Now, when we talk about purpose, one of the greatest examples of purpose is this guy right here, Thomas Edison. You think about all the things that this guy invented. The copy machine. You go to watch a movie. We wouldn't have that without Thomas Edison. But his greatest invention was what? The light bulb. Now, interestingly enough, there's a backstory to the light bulb. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla were competing to see whether direct current that he had invented and Nikola Tesla had invented alternating current, which one was going to be the end-all be-all. Well, Edison one day was trying to figure out, what am I going to do with electricity so that I can show its value to the world? And as he's pondering this statement, he looked out the window and he saw this old guy every day that would walk down the street at night, and with a small torch, he would light the gas-lit lamps that illuminated the roadway. And he would watch as the maidservants would come in and they would light the lamps in the house as they would turn on the gas and illuminate so they could work in the evening. Now, gas lighting, if you've ever seen it, it's okay. It smells a little, but it's not that efficient of a light. All of a sudden, Edison had purpose. I can take direct current and I can create this illumination device that will be safe in a home, no more gas we have to worry about. It will be more efficient and more effective at lighting the highways, so as people are moving around at night, they can see and not stumble in the dark. This became his purpose and his passion. After 10,000 failed attempts, 10,000, he finally invented the incandescent light bulb. I love this quote. One of our greatest weaknesses lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always trying just one more time. How many times do you think, I'm going to succeed, but you want to quit? I met a man a few years ago that lived in Kentucky. And he had loaned some money to some people to buy some land because they wanted to dig for emeralds in Kentucky and in North Carolina. And one of the properties had a few gems that they pulled out, but the property in North Carolina never produced a single emerald. Well, after a period of time, they ran out of money, and because he had loaned the money and had a lien on the property, he ended up with this piece of property. Well, one day he just decided, I've got this piece of land and I've never seen it. I'm going to go check it out. So he goes to visit and he finds the place where these men had been digging, and he said, I've always wanted to be a miner 49er. And he grabbed a pickaxe and a shovel and he started digging. He dug 18 inches below where these men stopped, having gone bankrupt, and uncovered the 2 largest emeralds ever discovered in North America. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. These investors lost the opportunity to own 2 priceless emeralds because they quit 18 inches from their gold mine. 18 inches rather than trying one more time. Now, the second camp is persistence. Once you discover your purpose, now the hard work begins. Once I know what I've got to do, how do I do it? That's where persistence comes into play. But this is where a lot of people falter because they know what they want to do, but they're not willing to do what is necessary and persist till they succeed. Another great book I'll recommend if you've not read it. It's an old classic my dad gave me many, many years ago. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World, Og Mandino. It's the story of a young boy that was a slave working in the camel trade that ended up becoming the greatest salesman ever to live in the country of Babylon. And as he's getting ready to retire, he gives to his servant Hafid these 10 scrolls that are the secrets to his success. And in one of those scrolls, the statement of success is this: I will persist until I succeed. But far too many of us, we engage in a digital marketing campaign. We engage in webinars, seminars, whatever it is, and we try it a few times and we say, it's not working, we want to quit. We don't want to follow the process through and be persistent, but you have to if you want to summit your Mount Everest. Understand this, and this is a quote that I've used that I love, and it's, if you get nothing else from today's presentation, I want you to get this. Successful people do daily what unsuccessful people do sometimes or not at all. If we look at the most successful people in the world, they have a routine. They have a process that they know that works, and they follow it religiously. They continually hone that process to make it better. But every day they focus and they start their day, interestingly enough, reading, organizing their day, spending some time in meditation or prayer, and then they set out and start their day. At the end of each day, they read. What do they read? Educational, biographical, informational, or inspirational content. And then at the end of the day, they think through their wins, they think through their losses, and what they learned. They make a list of what they've got to work on tomorrow so their mind can work on it while they're sleeping, and they go to sleep. They do that every single day because they understand if they stop doing that, they just put a lid on how successful they can be in life. Now, to talk about persistence, I've got to tell a story of my friend, Ryan Leake. Ryan Leake, if you want to see an interesting video, go to YouTube, not now, but after we're done today, and look up The Surprise Wedding. Now, Ryan met this beautiful girl. He married way above his pay grade, I'll say that, and he will too. But Ryan met this beautiful girl, but she told him after they dated for a while, she thought it would be really cool to get engaged and married on the same day. So for 2 years, Ryan planned this surprise wedding. And about 6 weeks out, the last thing that was there that he needed was the cake. He shows her this cake, and he says, "What do you think?" She said, "Oh, that's pretty nice." She said, "I've got a better one on Pinterest." He said, "Well, what's Pinterest?" And she says, "Oh, well, I've got my whole wedding planned out on Pinterest." So he goes and looks, and there's 312 pages of what her ideal wedding looks like. So with 6 weeks to go, he scrambles to pull together the ideal engagement and wedding in a single day. He gets all the family together. They hide in a hotel. He gets her to the hotel. He drops down on one knee and he says, "Will you marry me?" And she looks at him and she smiles and he says, "No, wait. Will you marry me today?" All the family, all the friends jump out with this big poster that says, "Today!" Fortunately, she said yes. They had the dress, they had the hair people, they had everything lined up, videotaped the whole thing, married after being engaged for a whole 8 hours. And out of that, it became this internet phenomenon, over 1 million views on YouTube. Now, this is where the story persistence comes in. Ryan gets an opportunity to be on the Queen Latifah show, where they are interviewing he and his spouse about this surprise wedding. Kobe Bryant shows up by video on the Queen Latifah show. He says, "Ryan, I'm really proud of what you've done. I think that's pretty cool. We want to do something for you, so we want you to come out and spend a day with the Lakers." Well, now Ryan played basketball in college. He played in a D3-ish school that was part of the NCCAA, National Christian College Athletic Association. As Ryan says, "I was real good in church pickup ball, but I always envisioned playing in the pros." So he goes to spend a day with the Lakers and go to a game. He's talking to Kobe Bryant and he pitches this idea of a documentary. He said, "Kobe, I want to try out for every NBA team and have an opportunity to make an NBA team as a nobody." Kobe says, "I think it's a great idea, go for it." So Ryan says, okay. He didn't expect that answer. So Ryan begins to send emails to sports teams. He emails the Boston Celtics. They email him back, say, "Ryan, we think your idea of having a nobody tryout's a great idea. It's just not for us." So Ryan says, "Well, wait a minute." He said, I reach out to a team. I'm a good player, and they won't even give me a shot. And then he gets this idea, I will persist till I succeed. So Ryan decides he's going to make a documentary on being turned down by all 36 NBA teams. And that's going to be his documentary until the Phoenix Suns raised their hand and said, "Ryan, come try out for the team." They called him on a Friday evening and said, "Ryan, we want you here on Monday with your camera crew." Ryan had no camera crew. He found a buddy at church that knew how to run a video camera, and they jumped a plane Sunday night, and they flew to Phoenix on Monday. He shows up, he tries out, spoiler alert, and you can actually go see Chasing Failure on YouTube. It's his second video. He doesn't make the team. But he says, as I'm running up and down, doing the wind sprints and doing the other things, I looked down on the floor, and I wasn't seeing the YMCA logo in the middle of the floor. I was seeing the Phoenix Suns. He said, I persisted until I got my shot. I persisted until I succeeded in getting what I wanted. Now, Ryan got a little more than that. He didn't make the team, but he has gone on to be a success coach for multiple NBA teams. So Ryan's claim to fame now is he says there's more than one way to play in the NBA. But that is persistence. But understand this, and Ryan's story bears that out. If you can't stomach failure, if you're not willing to put yourself out there and have an opportunity to fail, you're never really going to know what success looks like. You're only going to end up living an average, mediocre, lackluster life. Now, that moves us to the next camp, which is price. And as you're working your way up your Mount Everest of success, there is a price you have to pay to be successful. Success is not free. Success is going to cost you or someone something. And unless you're willing to pay the price of success, you will never be successful. I want you to think about that. Many people say, I want to be successful, but they're not willing to be persistent, and they're not willing to pay the price to get them to where they need to go. Now, to me, the person that embodies this paying the price is the legendary Kobe Bryant. There's a video out where Kobe's being interviewed, and it's called Start Early. It's on YouTube. But Kobe tells the story about when he was in high school, he understood that to play in the NBA, you not only had to be good, you not only had to be great, you had to be a world-class master of your craft. You had to have a black belt in basketball to make it to the NBA. So starting in high school, here's what Kobe did. He got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he trained for 2 hours. And then he had breakfast. And then he rested, did a few things. And then, 11 o'clock, back out on the court for another 2-hour workout. He then went, had lunch, rested for a few minutes. Later in the afternoon, another 2-hour workout on the court. He then went back, had dinner, rested. At 7 o'clock, he was back out on the floor for another 2-hour workout. 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, starting in high school. Now, I want you to notice what he says as he's being interviewed. He says, you do that, and as the years go by, the separation that you have with your competitors and peers grows larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, it doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never going to catch up. If you are willing to do what other people are unwilling to do, you have an opportunity to be more successful than they are. But here's the problem with most people. They don't want to do that. They're okay with going in and doing a 2-hour workout in the morning, maybe a 2-hour workout in the afternoon. Kobe doubled that every day. And they would work out 2 days a week, 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week. He worked out 5, 6, 7 days a week and did that for years to become a world-class master of who he was and what he did. Michael Phelps swam almost 50 miles a week to be able to compete and ultimately become the most medaled Olympian in the world. He understood there was a price to pay. Now, the fourth camp is pleasure. And before y'all get too excited, I'm talking about having fun in business, okay? You got to have an element of fun and love what you do. I remember growing up as a kid, my dad told me, he says, John, if you will learn to love what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. Well, Al, my dad was half right. I love what I do, but I still have to work hard to do it. You know, Tyrone, if we think about the martial arts, I love the martial arts, as do you, but it's not easy, is it? There's a lot of work that's involved, but because you love it, it's a work you love to do because you know the outcome it's going to get. Here's what's interesting. When you know your purpose, you know your why, and you're persistent in doing it, and you're willing to pay the price, you know the pleasure you're going to get your clients when they're able to sit down and say, I received financial peace of mind because of the work I did in working with you. And as a result of that, now you've got this opportunity to say, man, that feels great. Because this neat thing about pleasure, when we experience pleasure, the brain releases this chemical compound that tells the body, hey, this feels good. Let's go do it again. So pleasure is celebrating the wins along the way. When your client gets a win and you're able to get them more income or you're able to get them a better opportunity to protect their principal, do you celebrate that win with them? If not, you should. Because as you celebrate that win with each and every customer, letting them see that they are on a journey of more financial success in their lives, it's going to do something internally in your brain that's going to begin to hardwire your brain to look for more opportunities to help your clients experience more success. And as you celebrate those wins, borrow a phrase from Tony Robbins, what gets rewarded gets repeated. So here's a question. What are you rewarding in your business? Or what are you not rewarding in your business that you should be along the way? Now that takes me to the Pietro principle, and I want to just talk just a minute here. Out of all the things that you and I can do every day, about 20% of the things that we do, we love to do, and we're really, really good at. These are the things that give us satisfaction and fulfillment. This is part of our why and our purpose. Now there's another roughly 50% of things that we can do, and we're okay at doing, but we get no satisfaction from it. We know those things maybe have to be done. It's like mowing the grass. I get no satisfaction out of mowing the grass, but if I don't mow the grass, I can't find my dogs in the backyard. They ultimately disappear. So I've got to mow the grass, but I don't get satisfaction from that. Now there's 30% of things I can't do. I can't get in high heels like my daughter and walk around and look pretty. It just doesn't happen. My wife is an incredible seamstress. She sews for some amazing folks. She's done costumes for New York Fashion Week. She's done stuff for some amazing different models all over the world. I can't do that stuff. She'll show me a pattern and say, what do you think? I don't have a clue. I just smile and say, honey, it looks great. Just knock yourself out. She's amazing at that, but I'm not. What can we take from the Pietro principle when it comes to pleasure? And that's this. Successful people spend 80% of their day working in the 20% of their greatest giftedness. Let me say that again. Successful people spend 80% of their day doing the 20% of things they're best at doing. They assign the things they're not good at doing or they're just okay at doing to other people who are great at doing those things. And if you are building an organization and you're hiring a team, you want to make sure you assess those individuals so you can understand that they can actually do the job you want them to do. Throw the resume away. Talk to me about some tools that you can use to do that. But hire people that can actually do it and love to do it. And if you can get an entire team of people that are all doing 20% of their greatest giftedness 80% of the day, you are going to be unstoppable as a financial professional and in any other area of your life. When you're spending 80% of your day doing 20% of what you're best at, you are going to absolutely rock it. Now, the other thing I want to mention with the 80-20 rule is you've got to take some time for fun. You can't spend 100% of your day working. You got to have 20% for you because you've got to be able to rest, to recover, to give your brain and your body a chance to recover. Now me, I'm one of these crazy guys that you give me an inner tube, I'm going to go jump off a 200-foot waterfall and hope when I hit the bottom I can swim. But that's just the type of things I love to do. My kids and I, we go crawl in caves with these little tiny caves and crawl around and do things that most people think we're stupid and crazy, but we love to do it. Maybe that's not you. Maybe it's just celebrating a win. Maybe it's taking your significant other on a cruise to the Caribbean. But every once in a while, you've got to do something for you because you're rewarding the wins that you've got that have gotten you to Camp Pleasure. Now there's one other camp that we got to get to the top, and that is Camp Passion, which is really a return to Camp 1, which is purpose. It is about your why at a much deeper and meaningful level. And it's about the passion of what you're going to leave behind to the next generation and what you're doing right now to grow the people around you. One of my good friends is Dr. John Maxwell. I've had an opportunity to sit at Dr. John's feet since 2017. Incredible man. John's got a number of great books, but in one of John's books, he teaches the 5 levels of leadership. Level number 1 is position. People follow you because they have to. You hire a new employee and you tell them, I want you to do this or that. They haven't developed the opportunity to know you, like you, and trust you yet, but they do what they have to do or they know they're going to get fired. Level 2 is permission. They give you permission to lead them because now they know you, like you, trust you. Level 3 is production. People in an organization will follow you because they see your organization is successful and they want to be a part of a successful team and participate in that. Level 4, when we get to level 4, that is the development of other people. That's what we're seeing in this community today as individuals have stood up and shared, this is what I'm doing in my practice that you can also do in your practice. This is iron sharpening iron of as a community coming together and saying, we want to help every member of the team not just be successful, but to be super successful. But this 5th level, this pinnacle, is all about significance. It is about your highest calling, your greatest purpose, and your lasting legacy. Who's going to stand on your shoulders? When you're gone, who's going to take your place, and what are they going to do to perpetuate what you built? If you haven't started thinking about your legacy, how you want to be remembered when you're gone, and the impact you want to make on others, you need to start thinking about that now. Why is that? John says this, once you taste significance, success will never satisfy. Now think about the power of that statement, because success is momentary. I run a 100-yard dash and I win. I won. I was successful. But to be successful, what do I have to do? Run another 100-yard dash. I climbed to the top of Mount Everest. I was successful. But to be successful again, I've got to go climb another mountain. We go through a series of successes our entire life. But once we truly discover our passion for the lives we're changing, the opportunity to be able to transfer wealth generationally and to keep that going year after year after year. You know, the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. When I have an opportunity to go speak to churches and I talk about leaving a lasting legacy and I bring that up, a lot of people look at me with this look of, I never thought of that before. You know, being able to deliver a life insurance check is one of the greatest joys I've ever had, not in the death of an individual, but knowing that individual had planned that in the event he or she didn't live to life expectancy, the money they would have earned in their lifetime was available to keep that family whole. Those are the powerful things that you and I have an opportunity to do in the lives of others. Those are significant moments in our lives. I want to leave you with this as I get ready to wrap up for today. Somebody is going to write your epitaph when you're gone. At some point, somebody's going to say, this is how I remember you. This is how I remember you. Why not write your own epitaph right now by the way you live your life? And you choose, starting today, how you want to be remembered when you are no longer here. That, to me, is the opportunity to be successful. Now let me leave you with this. 2 men wanted to build a house. One man built a house on a firm, solid foundation of stone. A second man built the exact same house, but he built it on the beachfront on the sand. A hurricane came through about 6 months later and struck the area where these 2 houses were built. The house that was built on the firm foundation of rock, solid because the 5 principles, the 5 camps we talked about, had been instilled into that business practice, stood firm when struggles came. But the house that was built on the sand, when the storm came and the challenges came and the difficulties came in life, that house was a total loss. The foundation upon which you build your success matters. So it's important to build your success well. Now, if you enjoyed today's talk, let me invite you to beablackbeltleader.com. I'm known as the Black Belt Leader in the martial arts industry. Monday through Friday, each day of the week, I post tips, tools, insights, and resources on personal growth and development. You'll find them there. Also, several books. My new book is coming out in March, so you have an opportunity to pick those up if you're interested. And I want to leave you with this. Every single one of us in this room is leading someone somewhere right now, even if the only person you're leading is yourself. So don't just be a leader, be a black belt leader, and choose to live your life with black belt excellence. If you do that, you will live a successful life. Mr. Al, thank you, sir.
Fantastic job.
Thanks very much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.